Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear students, welcome to the course of Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming. Today we are going to discuss about the constructor and destructor, and in the last lecture we discussed how a class is created and how member functions and member data of the class has been declared. Today we are going to discuss about what are constructor and what are the concept of destructor in the object-oriented programming. Basically, constructor is a type of function that is used for the initialization of values, or you can say the data members of the class or the class that has been declared. So it is a function that is used for the initialization of values. Mean when we have to initialize the values of the constructor, then we will use the of the class, then we will use the concept of constructor. Mean constructor is a function that initializes the values of a class. Clear? So is a special type of member function in C++ class which are automatically invoked when an object is being created. It is special because its name is the same as that of the class name. यानी कंस्ट्रक्टर का वही नेम होगा बेटा that is the name of the class, जो class का होगा. Constructor is basically used for two purposes. Number one, to initialize data members of the class, clear, and secondly to allocate memory for data members. Constructor can also be used to declare runtime memory, mean dynamic memory for the data members. There are the following properties of constructor. Number one, constructor has the same name as that of the class. It is case sensitive. Constructor does not have return type. Number three, we can overload a constructor. It means we can create more than one constructor of a class. Four, we can use default argument in constructor. These are called the four properties of constructor. Here is an example that how we can create a constructor in object-oriented programming. For example, our class name is sample. We have declared a private member x as integer data type, and then we have created the default constructor. Sample is a function, but it has the same name as the name of the class. Therefore, it is known as constructor. And we have just initialized the private data member that we have declared the class as x is equal to 5. And then void set integer a, we say that x is equal to a, and then we print the value of x is equal to x in the function. So then we just declared an object of the sample class as s. Then we just call the class s.print, and s.set is equal to s.set, and we pass the parameter 10, and then s.print. First we just call the print function, and we didn't call the sample constructor as you are seeing here. ठीक है बेटा, हमने कोई यहाँ constructor function को call नहीं किया. We are just calling the function that will print the value of the data member of the class. So you will see here the s.print will print the automatically we'll call the constructor here, and that will print this value. So s.print 10, the 10 is a parameter, is a local variable, and it will pass to the value that has been declared there, and then it will print the value. So in this case we got value of x is equal to 5 that was declared in the constructor class, and then the parameter that has been passed in the form of 10, and the value of x is equal to 10 has been passed here. So types of constructor. Types of constructor are 5. The first type of constructor is default constructor, or you can say zero argument constructor. We can say that if we just create a function that has the same name as that of class, and we don't pass any parameter through it, and we just use the other function, it will be automatically call and initialize the values. That is called default constructor or zero argument constructor. At the end of the lecture we will also run a program that will show us that how a default or zero argument constructor has been used. So then the parameterized constructor. The parameterized constructor is a constructor where we pass the values as we have saw that when we pass the value 10, that is called parameterized constructor because we have passed the value of 10 to the constructor. Similarly, there is a type of copy constructor where we make the copy of a constructor and then conversion constructor and then expression constructor also. So these are the 5 types of constructor. Normally, constructor default constructor or zero argument constructor is used, or parameterized constructor used, and copy constructor, conversion constructor, and expression constructor also used when they are needed. So in the default or zero argument constructor, we say that no value is passed. Clear? That is called zero argument constructor. In a class, if there is no default constructor defined, then the compiler inserts a default constructor with an empty body in the class in compiled code or compile time. So that is, if we didn't declare any constructor, then the system will automatically declare an empty or vacant constructor and will use for initialization. Similarly, constructor can also be defined outside of the class. It doesn't have any return type. It is very important. There I just make it green, that these are the points that should be remembered, because it is oftenly asked in the interviews, and it is also mostly we have observed these types of questions in the test and screen test for a post of programmer or professor or lecturer. So here is an example of the constructor that we say that we have our class demo, and we have 3 private data members, integer a, b, c, and we have declared a function demo, and we didn't pass any parameter there. Then we set integer a, b, c, and then we just print white print. Then we just you can say connect the by the scope resolution operator demo constructor with the demo. Then we assign values, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, c is equal to 1, and similarly then we have just set the values by the resolution operator with the class, and then we assign the value a, b, c to the class data members of the class, and then we just print those values. When we just call these values and run this program, you will see at the end of the lecture that what would be the result of these values. Clear? But it is, we say that in the above example, demo member function is used as a constructor to initialize data members, and set member function is used to set value of the data members. In this lecture, we are going to learn parameterized constructor in C++ programming. As the name suggests, it is a constructor with an arguments or parameter that has been passed through it. So let us take an example. For example, person वन, अगर हम पर वन ऑब्जेक्ट पर्सन क्लास का डिक्लेयर कर दे और इसमें हम जो है वो 2 वैल्यूज पास कर दे, नेम ऑफ द पर्सन एंड एज ऑफ द पर्सन, नेम ऑफ द पर्सन, दिस इट इज कॉल्ड व्हाट, these types of example are called parameterized constructor are the with the value when passed they will make it parameterized. So in this case here we have another program where we have passed the values in the form of parameter to the constructor function, and then we call it and just display it in the program, and we will run this program at the end of the program, at the end of the lecture, and you will see the results inshallah. Similarly, my dears, we have another concept, of very important concept of the object-oriented programming, that is called destructor. What is destructor? Destructor is basically a function that has also the same name that is of the class, but just you can say a sigma operator in front of the name that will make it different from the constructor, and that will make it a destructor. A destructor is basically a function that will destroy the value that has been initialized by the constructor, because that is of no use for us. We are just wanted to initialize to the values data members to start the program and assign the other values. So in this case we are saying that once the values has been initialized, there is no need to store that initialized values. So then we need a constructor to destroy those all values that have been initialized by the constructor. So the constructor has the following properties, five properties. Number one, destructor of a class has the same name as that of the class. It does not have a return type. It does not have any argument. It is preceded with the tilde character that has been also called sigma, and it cannot be overloaded. Mean destructor cannot be overloaded while constructor can be overloaded. As we discussed that it can be copied, it can be converted into other functions. So let us take an example of the destructor class demo. Then we declare the member data as a private integer x. Then we can declare a constructor class demo integer x. We pass a parameter integer x, and then we assign x to the member data x, and then we declared the destructor function. As you are seeing that tld function or sigma and then demo, it has the same name as the class, and just we saw that destructor has been called, and it will just a message that someone can come about that and know that the destructor has been implemented and it has performed its function. And then in the main we have just creates object 1, object 2 and object 3, and we pass 3 parameters. And then after that when we will run the program, and then we'll call the functions, you will say that these values has been assigned by the parameterized constructor to its member data, but when the destructor will be called, all these values will be vanished. So this was the basic concept of constructor and destructor. Now we are interested in just running these programs in the form of class, that how this program will be run. So let us try to one by one to open these program and then run it. So we will first try to use the program that has been called, you can say, default constructor, you can say. So let us run this program, default constructor. As you know that we have discussed this program in the lecture. Now we will just run it and you will see the result of the program. As we said that we have passed a value x, assign a value x, and then we pass a parameter 10, and both the values are successfully run here. Similarly, my dears, we can also run another program at here. We will open that program and then we will try to run that program at here. So the concept that we want to make clear should be very easily clear at here. That is called parameterized constructor. So as we have discussed in the program that it is a parameterized constructor, where we have passed 3 parameters to the constructor function. Let us have a look that how it will work. We will first run the program, and you see that program has been run. We first pass the parameter 1, 1, 1, 2, 3 values, and then we passed the parameter 10 values 10, 20 and 30 to the ABC, and thus all the values that we have been passed has been printed here. So it's mean that we successfully we pass the values, and this type of constructor is called parameterized constructor. Now we can also have a look to another type of the constructor. We discuss about the parameterized constructor, we can refer to the default constructor, and we can also discuss about the zero constructor. And we will run a program that has been used as zero constructor, and we have passed just 3 call the function, that what it will do. Let us look at have a look at where the program has been run, and it has passed the following values to us: 1, 1, 1 and 10, 20 and 30. So in this case we have successfully run the programs of the you can say constructor types of constructor. We can also, if someone instructor, we can also, you also make a program for the copy constructor, conversion constructor, another type of constructor that we have discussed here. Okay, so now let's have open a program of destructor, and we will run that also, that you should make the clear the concept of destructor too. So we have add here a destructor program, that is a destructor program, and as I have discussed with you, it has the tell the operator in front of it. So if I will just run this program, then we will see that we will just have a look at here, that first I will reset the program, okay, and then will I just call the destructor program at here, that will perform the function that we want to perform by the destructor operator. So now I am going to call that open and call that program again. So look, have a look at here. I have stored this program at here. This is the destructor program, and I think it has not been called, or no, still it has not been called. Let me have clear it again, and then will I write again in front of you. Okay, dears, let us have a look about that. It has been reset. Okay, I am just going to delete this this program, and then I will try to make open the destructor function at here. Okay, dears, so this is the destructor program, and now we will try that program has been opened or not. Yes, I will make a try, but I think that program has need not been opened. Let us have a run. Say it. Okay. So I think that program has not been successfully loaded. I will try to load the Destructor program, and then I will share this program again with you. Okay, dears. So this was our today lecture in which we have discussed about the concept of constructor and destructor, and we try to how what are the types of constructor and destructor, and how these are implemented, what are the properties, what are the purposes, and how it can be run and executed. So this was all about the concept of constructor and destructor and writing the program about these things. And I hope that inshallah successfully all my audience will successfully learn the concept of the constructor destructor using C++. Thank you, dears. Thank you very much.